kala di la ku e ku pono ku I kai kala no ke aku amana lo ala Kalania maulo la Uli kahakue Teolo kalania maulo la Kalani kauila kahekili hali hali kaua'i tupu ue kalani ola kahonua o ikana hele o hala ona bua ika aina uluvei e kanile ona manunulu ila uli kahakue teolo kalani amaulola Teolo kalania maulo la
Since YouTube having problems this morning, keeps on shutting off. I guess that's how much we're going to get. We're on the air, cuz. What's up?
Well, what's up? I'll tell you what's up. You know, it's time to vote. It's voting time. Hello.
Did you watch all the conventions?
Huh?
Did you watch Did you watch the conventions? Both of them?
Oh, please! I kept on turning. I was like shocked. I was like so angry. I kept on. Hoku says, "Ma, stop yelling at the TV."
Well, I was just it was just so stark difference when they show the Republicans and it's mostly all Haoles, and then they show the Democrats, which shows a more mixture. It was just very stark differences, you know.
Yeah, differences? I think, differences are monotonous too. Yeah, I Republicans I've never really had any problems with, because when I grew up, my grandmother was a Democrat, my grandfather was a Republican, which made things really difficult prior to 6 months in terms of any major election, because that's when neither one of them would speak to each other, and it'd be like pins and needles. Everybody would be walking on pins and needles over there in the house. They get the name calling in terms of the animals that they represent, elephant.
Yeah, and how the donkey become Democrats?
Well, I think the Democrats, the donkey is, it's a beast of burden.
Yeah, I saw the history on it once, but it's also a symbolism of something else. But
and an elephant is a beast of burden too. It's just bigger and has a longer trunk.
Mm. Well, and my mom always raised us. I would have to say we lean towards Democrat. Our family's mostly Democrat, but we're also independent, because I believe some of the stuff that the Republicans say. One of the other normal Republicans that I think government is too much involved in our lives, where they're taking too much of our stuff. And I think that has to stop. I do believe in a smaller government. But at the same token, I also believe that, we have to help our fellow man. But at the same time, Democrats, it just seems like, I believe with the Republicans, they just overspend. And then especially when we've seen it in cases where my mom was involved with Medicaid and stuff, where these payments are going to people who could afford it for themselves. You know, when you have millionaires on Medicaid and stuff, it's like, that's not what the program was for. So you have a lot of abuse that has to be cleaned up, and us being overtaxed and burdened with these programs. I don't mind helping my fellow man, but I'm not going to, I have a problem with helping a able-bodied person who just wants to sit on their okole and just, get public assistance. I have a problem with that. Everyone has to provide some into the community that we are. And
yeah, well, but there's a lot of people who are not receiving the benefits that those who can afford it are, and those who can't.
No, true, and that's why the system has to be tweaked. It's not perfect.
Yeah. But then again, what's going to happen? And I look at it this way. First of all, one of the things is, and I have some friends, and I have some also.
You do have
members.
friends. Oh,
I have friends, and my family. We didn't when I went for my brother's passing, and I went to go visit family that was in Florida. We didn't bring up politics because, to be quite frank, the majority of them, because they live down south, are voting for the elephant. The pink polka dot elephant standing in the middle of the room. Okay. And I they know my mana'o on this, and they turned around, and they also know that they don't argue with me, because I could throw some facts at them, but they just don't argue with me in regards to that. So we didn't talk at all. There's three things we didn't talk about at all: is politics, religion, and insurance.
Well, and just my 2 cents on it, it does get kind of heated. There are some very divisive issues, but it was not funny, but my one of my sister's friends who was a teacher with her, and a Haole guy, great guy, and he mentioned that my brother-in-law was trying to bring up something, and he just goes, "Hey, I don't want to discuss politics." They're all like, "Why?" He goes, "Me and my best friend years ago started on the discussion of politics, and we've never talked since because I just don't want to go there right now. We're having a nice little party. Let's not go and venture into politics, please."
Right. Yeah. True. And I mean, my main concern in terms of, I've never really had any concerns if a Republican got in office or not.
Yeah.
At any other time. Because this is a Democratic state, but one of the concerns that I did have in regards to a particular candidate who's running for president, and this is my mana'o, is just that his out there racism in regards to the Hispanic, and I do mean Hispanic. I mean, it goes clear across the board. Mexicans, Cubans, and various other different ethnic groups, that brings a lot, and his how shall I say it, and his mana'o regarding immigration, that does bring some concerns to one of the major populations here in Hawaii, which is a Filipino community, and because he has made certain derogatory statements and blanket, he does blanket to him, I mean, to him, I won't repeat it because to me, it's any derogatory remark towards anybody's ethnic is offensive. But
right.
I mean, he's making blatant accusations and derogatory remarks towards anybody who is of any type of Spanish background, which sort of like brings concern, and especially his mana'o regarding immigration brings some concern about many of our families over here in Hawaii who are of Filipino background, and with the Philippines, many of our families who are here are trying to bring many of their family members over here. And, I look at that and go, no. And the reason why I say that is because I get some cousins from Kaua'i over there who are, Hawaiian Filipino, and so I'm like, no. I mean, that's my main concern. Oh my God, and
that's where I think the Republicans have a problem, because I like their thing about stop the spending, and Trump is a whole different card, and that's why you have the Republican Party split right now. Half of the Mitt Romney didn't attend their convention. The Bushes didn't attend the convention either. But I believe in that stuff. But they have a problem like pro-choice. I'm pro-choice. I think they're non-pro-choice. Yeah, it's religious, but you have to keep the religious from the state separate, and to impose that. And as a woman, man, I have to support the women who are these men to make a law that tells me what to do with my body. So I don't agree with their platform on that.
Yes.
And, Trump is he's a different cookie, but what's kind of scary is that he's a
cracker.
No.
He ain't no cookie.
He's not at 13%. He's close to 40%. That's the scary part. And some of the people you talk to support Trump, they're like, well, we're just going to vote for anybody except for the establishment. It's like, you're going to cut your nose off to spite your face. They seemed, in my point of view, they seem out there. They seem out there that they'll just take anything. And that's what's the scary part, to see his numbers so high with the things that he says.
I know. I know. And plus that, what happens is not that it's the lesser of two evils. I look at it this way in regard. I'm not pro Clinton whitewater.
Well, put it this way: anybody up there ain't perfect. Even Bernie Sanders ain't perfect. I supported Bernie, but none of us is perfect. So for everyone to say that Hillary has to be perfect, then you're just denying reality that nobody is perfect. Right.
So here we are, and one of the things that I mentioned is I think it's imperative. Everybody's vote. Now, I know a lot of our Kanaka brothers and sisters say, no, I'm not going to vote. Oh, yeah. All right, then. You know what? Then you're our future, our sovereign future, okay, may be in the hands of a madman when it comes real soon, okay?
Well, even with Hillary, we got to be realistic. Even though I support her on certain points, she's not going to be our savior. No president of the United States is going to look at lightly about giving Hawaii its sovereignty. It's going to be a real hardcore issue. Now, we understand it's the right thing to do. And if they don't do it, then the United States has a serious problem with their motto of justice, especially when you've seen it all in the Republican and really in the Democrat about supporting rights and being the champion of rights. Then it has to apply to the Hawaiians. It has to.
In other countries. Literally
exactly.
In other countries. Yes, give them their country and their freedom. Yeah, Russia went, yeah, right. As soon as you give Hawaii.
Yep, and cousin, as always, prior to our phone call, so we're going to put a phone caller on the line. Hello, caller, you're on there with Nale Hawaiian Issues.
Hey, are you taking calls? Or?
Yeah, no, we are. It's a talk show.
Oh, hi, how are you? Am I on the air?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Unless you don't want to.
No, that's great.
Okay.
I was just listening to the show, and, I'm a Hispanic American, Hispanic in descent. Mm-hmm. And, I heard the guest that you had on there talking about how racist Donald Trump is, and I have to voice my opinion on that, because I don't see that what he has said has been racist. I think what he's saying is that we need to defend our borders, that many of the people coming over the borders are coming over on their free will. They're not abiding to our laws, and a lot of them wind up being convicted of crimes. A lot of them are very violent crimes. It is a fact there's a lot of drugs coming over the border. And these are the things that, we have to face up to. We're a sovereign nation, and we get to determine who crosses our borders and who doesn't. And there's a distinction that we need to make. There's a difference between immigration and illegal immigration. And if people are coming over and in the night, or coming over, without any permission, they're immediately breaking our laws. And we're a country that if we're going to help people and we're going to feed them and we're going to make sure that they're treated fairly and they live a good life, there's a limit to the amount of resources we have to do that with.
I agree with you. Can I ask? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And to me, it makes sense. Now, on the Democratic side, I kind of understand why they love to have immigrants come over, whether they're illegal or legal, because they're the ones that get the votes from those people. And the Republicans aren't going for those votes. They're not looking to put our country into deeper, deeper debt. Let's face it, everybody on earth, if they had their choice, they'd want to live in America. It's the best place in the world to live.
Well, with that statement, can I just ask you, it kind of sounds to me that you're not familiar with Hawaiian issues, current Hawaiian issues, or Hawaiian history.
No, I am familiar with Hawaiian issues. Ask me something. Test me.
Well, you know that the majority of the Hawaiians didn't want to be a part of the United States. They protested it. And when the Department of Interior came down 2 years ago, we also stated that we have to abide by what our kupunas and elders said. They didn't want to be part of the United States. They rejected being annexed. And how we got annexed was that it was by a joint resolution in Congress. And today, the Hawaiian people, that's why it's kind of funny when you say our country. It's America's country. America is a foreign country to Hawaii. And the Hawaiian people have twice in history, over 100 years ago and 2 years ago, have rejected this notion that is being passed around that Hawaiians wanted to join the United States. So when you say our country, that's Americans speaking that. That's not the majority of the Hawaiian people, because we have on record protested that we are patriotic to our country, which is Hawaii.
I totally understand that. And as someone who moved here from the mainland, I see myself as a visitor in the nation of Hawaii. But the two issues that we're discussing here are very different. We have Hawaiian people. I assume the guest is Hawaiian and you're Hawaiian. And you're talking about the presidential election.
Correct.
And want to be a part of it. So I'm just chiming in on that. Now, if we want to talk Hawaiian issues, I'm very familiar. And let's get it clear that the state of Hawaii and the wrongs that were done by Democrats. This state has been run by Democratic leadership since it became a state and before then.
Well, I think the annexation joint resolution was voted by both parties, not just Democrats.
Yes, but the Democrats are the one who had the opportunity over the past 50 years, 60 years now, to make things right. And they have failed the Hawaiian people by not doing it.
Well, did you read the Reagan report in the 80s?
Excuse me?
The Reagan administration took up the issue of Hawaiian rights in the 80s. Have you read that report?
I'm familiar vaguely with it. I'm more familiar with Clinton and his apology, and I'm more familiar with a couple of other issues about the Akaka bill and how that.
Right.
I think
now that's the Democrats.
The Hawaiian people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you go 10 years earlier, in the early 1980s, Reagan took up a commission to study Native Hawaiian rights. And that's where I've been, sadly, I don't respect the United States ever since then, because they blamed everything on the Hawaiians, which is contradictory to the facts presented.
But let's keep in mind the facts are that the state of Hawaii and its entire delegation, Senate, Congress, most of the governors, and everybody in control of the state have not done anything, not anything to help advance the sovereignty of the Hawaiian nation.
I would agree with you on that point.
And this is where it has to start. This is really where it has to start, is right here. And you look at our current senators, Mazie, and you look at Brian Schatz, they're totally on board with and they're going to get reelected for the rest of their life.
Probably, yeah.
That's a sad fact. But getting back to Trump, the point I'm trying to make is that here we have two candidates. One of them is pretty much a proven liar, a career politician. Her life has been surrounded by scandal constantly. And then you got this other candidate that's being painted as a racist, a hater, this or that. And as a Hispanic American, I can tell you that nothing he has said is any worse than anything I've heard on the Democratic side. In fact, the emails that just got released and the voicemails from the Democratic convention, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, refers to Hispanic voters as Taco Bell voters. How's that? Did you read that?
No, I didn't read that.
Okay, so when you look at Trump and you say, listen, he's trying to protect our border. If you're offended and you're Muslim because you come over here, hey, we have a Muslim problem. Let's face the fact we have a Muslim problem. And here in Hawaii, we don't see it as much because we already have a wall. We have the Pacific Ocean. So people aren't really sneaking in. You got to get on a plane and get checked. You got to get on a boat and you get checked. So we don't really feel the brunt. But if we were on the border of Texas or Arizona or California or some of the other border states, those are the people that we really need to be listening to. Those are the people that have to deal with the problem, and those are the kids who aren't getting the education that they deserve because there's less funds to go around. The hospitals, there's less resources because we take care of everybody. We're such a generous nation.
And I see your passion about that. And give a response because my cousin, who's on the line, she was the one that was making those comments. Cousin, you have a response to this?
Yes. One of the things is I do say, because like I said, when I went down south, I visited my family. You know, and that's why we don't talk politics. Some of the statements that they were making and the attitudes that they had to it was basic, and the information they were coming from was basically not as Christian as it, and they're from the Bible Belt, and they're my mother's a minister. I'm a minister. One of the things that they were talking, and many of the things that they were talking about were like basically untrue. I've heard Trump come across with his racist remarks. Now, if that's for shock value, then fine. I'm sure that 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds or 3-year-olds who want to learn that kind of language, and if that's the kind of language, that's the type of president we want. Well, okay. But one of the things is, my main concern is my country. Kaua'i Aina, my occupied country, and the people who make up the local community, which basically over 1/3 of them are Filipino. And, you know, when he talks about borders, I understand Texas and all those borders, California and whatnot. But you know what? That's not my country. That's not my main concern. But those issues that he's touting will have an effect over here. And that's my concern. That is my major concern.
So let's talk about that for a second. His issues on immigration and making it where people have to comply with the existing laws will have an effect on Hawaii. Will that be a positive effect or will that be a negative effect? I mean, look at what's happening right now. Let me tell you something.
At this particular point, the existing laws over here in regards to immigration are working just fine. And the reason why I know that is because my son-in-law, who is from the country of Samoa, not American Samoa, who is a chief and the father to my grandchildren, has been denied papers twice to come into the country.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm fully aware of the immigration procedures over here, and they're working just fine over here.
But isn't that frustrating to you that your relative who has children here and has roots here is being denied? In the meanwhile, there's people that don't have any roots and are just crossing the border and immediately eligible for social services and all those other things. Isn't that frustrating to you?
That's military. Yes. Yes, that is frustrating to me. But the fact of it is, that's the military. And let's make, one of the things that I don't think anything's going to change is they're not going to be pulling out any type of armed forces or military out of Hawaii anytime too soon.
And I don't want to make light of it, but I agree with you. So, yeah, there is a problem, but can you imagine the Native American scenario? That's what we try to tell with you guys, but they got overrun. They couldn't build their wall. So it's kind of like Trump is saying he wants to block immigrants, but aren't they? I mean, unless you're Native American, aren't you guys all immigrants? Really?
Yeah.
So now, we got here first.
Statue of on the Statue of Liberty, it says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your ever."
Yeah, you're gonna have to change that.
To be free.
You're gonna have to change that.
You know, and every immigrant.
Wait, let them have a chance too, cuz.
Yeah, Europe. Okay. But come on, America is made of immigrants, except for the native Indians.
If you study America's immigration history, you will learn that at a time, America needed people. We needed workers to help build out our infrastructure. And we did welcome their tired, their poor, and so forth. But they went through a process. They went and they were welcomed into the country. They were tested for any type of diseases. They were interviewed on what kind of occupation they did, whether they had family roots here. There was a whole regimen of things, and they came through one centralized area. And believe it or not, immigrants that came from Europe, especially Eastern Europe, if they were a doctor, they were directed by the immigration part. We need you in Fargo, North Dakota. We need you here. We need you, and they would direct them where they needed to do the country the best.
Right. But
right now, immigrants are coming in. They're deciding when they come in. They're deciding. You know, they're living in the shadows, and then they're asking for a check. And guess what, folks? They're also getting the right to vote too. So it's a much different immigration policy. When we say "Give me your poor, give me your tired, give me your hungry," we get to have a say. So right now, the immigrants are the ones that are making up all the rules. They're not being screened. They're not, and we become a more giving nation since then. When you came over from Italy in the 1940s, you didn't have your hand out for a check. You had to work. You had to figure out a way. Now people come over and they have everything given to them, and unfortunately it's costing our veterans, it's costing our mentally ill, it's costing our, a lot of people that are already here that are in need, and their money for those services to take care of them is being diluted by other people.
And I agree with you. The taxes have to pay for that, and we pay for that. But to put in perspective also, the reason why America was bringing in more Europeans at that time, which is not, we're not talking Ellison Island, at the turn of the century or the late 18th. We're talking in the beginning. They needed to push westward, the Monroe Doctrine. So they brought more people, and you've seen the history on it, where they just let the guy, okay, boom, and you run across with thousands of people and you start grabbing lands that were Indian lands. So it was also, and you have to, and this is well documented, in that not only were we bringing more immigrants over in the early time of the United States, was to help push out the Indians, especially after the policy of Andrew Jackson passed Congress in 1812, and it was official policy of the United States to be able to push out the Indian tribes all the way back and send it up in reservations. So I understand the ideals of America, but sometimes when Americans try to explain that, they forget the realistic and the reality of the situation sometimes that were caused. That when they brought, and I agree with some of your points too.
Right. Yeah, but we have to deal with the here and now.
Exactly.
I mean, we can look at our history, and even Hawaiian history was cruel and violent in its own ways. You couldn't go from one side of the island to the other side without being challenged or whatever.
That's a falsehood. That's a falsehood. Just like it's a falsehood, like Kamehameha, he wasn't a Tapali'i. He was third level Tohi Noho. He had to crawl to his wife. So, and then, see, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to speak, like if I was going to speak about England or something, I don't know what I was going to talk about. I'm going to tell you, I don't know what I'm talking about. But to say things that are untrue and to try to project that to the public as saying this is fact, like that statement you made, that's untrue. Hawaiians had the right to go to different aupua'as. They did.
So answer me this.
Yes.
How did Kaua'i become part of the Hawaiian kingdom?
Because Kaumualiʻi sacrificed himself to avoid warfare and ceded it to Kamehameha. There was no warfare on here. However,
sacrifice needed. Why was that necessary to sacrifice if there wasn't some conflict?
Because he was a man who said, "Okay, do I want to fight for my greed and my ego, or do I want to save my people?" So he decided, which I thought was the right thing, save the people of Kaua'i war, and I will go with Kahumanu, and I will leave here to save my people. To me, that is a higher consciousness than I'm going to pick up my sword and I'm going to kill everyone who comes over here. That is a higher consciousness. He avoided war. That takes a higher consciousness.
And I'm being educated here.
No,
what I read is that he...
By who? It depends on who. Like if you read Kuykendall, I would advise you not to write Kuykendall because he's tainted towards Americanism.
I think I read what is it? The Forbidden Kingdom, or what's the book with the green cover?
All I have to say, if it's done by a non-Hawaiian, you have to question where they're coming from.
See, I read that he got kidnapped. He went over there to negotiate a treaty, and he was never allowed to return back to Kaua'i.
Well, actually, he went over there, and because Kamehameha made a deal with Kaumualiʻi, and then what ended up happening is during the first time, Kaumualiʻi the chiefs weren't happy. Kamehameha's chiefs weren't happy about it, so they're going to poison Kaumualiʻi. Kaumualiʻi, Isaac Davis, one of his Kamehameha's advisors, basically warned Kaumualiʻi, and Kaumualiʻi was able to get away. Because of that, the chiefs were upset. So somebody's going to die, and that wasn't Kamehameha. It was some of the other chiefs. So they poisoned Isaac Davis instead. But the thing of it is, the agreement was with one, Kamehameha, and to cement that agreement, Ka'ahumanu married Kaumualiʻi.
But all that said and done, it was to avoid bloodshed on Kaua'i.
Right.
The king gave up his life, and you could say kidnap, whatever, but he chose to live there. Yeah, he probably didn't like it, but he felt that his life of all his people on Kaua'i were more to him than his personal happiness. And in that, to me, is a great king.
Right, and that's great. But prior to that, there was plenty of bloodshed. There were several attempts to come in.
Where in history, in any part of this, anywhere in the world, has there not been violence? Where? United States. I mean, there's violence.
He came to unite the islands.
Right. Wherever there's human beings, there's conflict.
The Crusades, for religion,
and tell me, hold on, everybody. We're at the top of the hour, and sir, we mahalo for your comments.
Thank you very much for letting me speak.
And you can stay on if you want, but we have to do the top of the hour legal stuff.
No, we'll give someone else a shot.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Well, mahalo. Good talking to you.
Aloha.
I like that kind. Very, we don't agree on everything, but I find it invigorating, and he had some points too. So at the top of the hour,
he did.
Yeah, we are Naleo Hawaiian Issues, and Naleo Hawaiian Issues is made possible by listeners like you and phone callers like you and him, in partnership with Kaumualiʻi and KCC, Kaua'i Community College. And mahalo for supporting Kaua'i Community Radio. And Auntie Mahi, remind everybody,
the views and opinions expressed during this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of KKCR, its management, staff, board, members, volunteers, or underwriters.
And as we
Kamoa Ukulele Company, dedicated to building high-quality bell-tone.
Mahalo. But just like the other caller, 2008 with Barack Obama being the first African American president, you saw the rumblings. You see, at least I saw how he was disrespected in Congress. Never saw anybody yell at a president, especially call him a liar, at a State of a Union address. Never in my life. And I've been watching these things since the 60s. But this turmoil right now with Trump and Clinton, this is something totally different. And you can see by the passion of that guy, it looks like he's a staunch Trump supporter. And my cousin's, she might not be a Hillary supporter, but she definitely doesn't want Trump. I've never seen it this radical before. And with that, we have a couple callers online, so we're going to put them right on there. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Naleo Hawaiian Issues. And again, thank you for everyone. Everyone's opinion is appreciated. You're on the air, sir.
Yes. All right. Hey, aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
Basically, I hear about all this political things going on with United States candidates. I'll just give my little amana on it. First of all,
hi.
My name is Kaumualiʻi o Kamehameha. I'm a direct descendant of King Kaumualiʻi through his wife, Queen Deborah Kapule. On my dad's side of the family, my father, they're Kapule bloodline descendants. My mom's side is from the Big Island of Kaua'i. Her last name, her family is o Kamehameha. I'm a direct descendant of two kings, Kamehameha and Kaumualiʻi, as you was talking about in topic. My family has history and documented history about the past of both sides of our family. I have Pala Pala and history that people would worry about. I have Hawaiian money from, do you know the $5 bill was created here on the island of Kaua'i? The Hawaiian $5 bill by when King Kalakaua was in rank at the time.
Ooh, save those.
So there is a lot of proof and compliance about the things that I've been doing for the island of Kaua'i. I'm trying to help people to get their freedom. Their freedom as in, what is freedom? Freedom not from one war of two politics, one that is a liar and one that is a racist person. Basically, me as my mana'o as a Kanaka, speaking out for throughout all of our Kanakas, which I have that kuleana to do. The truth is about it is that why is any of the Hawaiians even voting for these guys? Any of these Americans did any good for our people in history? No. Never did. This is over 100 years and 100 years of lies, which we have documents and proof upon things, which controls land rights, water rights, and issues of even much more than that. We have our own kingdom that is in effect. So when people say that, oh, we're in struggle of freedom of our kingdom, no, people, wake up. Our kingdom is alive. 5 Supreme Court judges rule the fact that the kingdom of Hawaii is still in effect to today. And I'm a ali'i nui that is speaking right now. By koko, by blood. And I'm standing strong for our kingdom. We have our own kingdom banks. Everything on the island of Kaua'i and of Hawaii, not just this island. We are all free men of Kanaka people on our own soil. Basically, it's a hearsay, she said, he said. So when somebody says something, it's only waha. It's what our kupunas taught us. Show me the pala pala. Show me the pepper. If you have no proof of it, then your word is kaka. Your word has no pono. You know, I traveled a lot, going to the UK, the United Kingdom. Finding out so much that our people is brainwashed here. And my job is to wash the brain of our people. So to be voting for an American candidate, I don't see why people is even fighting for this. I mean, look, it's a real stupidity thing to have this person and that person to be the next president of the United States. And look what all the controversy is bringing out all over the world. Everybody's hating each other all over again. It's like back in the rival of the 50s and 60s with racism. Everybody's beating each other in the streets again. Cops are back killing people for no reason.
I guess
this one thing I see this guy shadowing a handicapped guy on video live, had his hands up talking to the cop. The cop just shot him, and he asked the cop, "Why you shoot me?" The cop says, "I don't know. I'm afraid of black guys." No,
and that cop shouldn't be on the street. Kind of low.
Well, there's a lot more than cops than just that one particular cop. I believe
True.
if you give someone that's been bullied around his whole life in high school a piece of authority of a badge, they're going to seek revenge and be a punk about it and take it over the limits of their head. Look, their job is serve and protect. Nothing more, nothing less. They're a county job. Now, what don't get me in the state of Hawaii is this. If we're the state of Hawaii, why does every island have their own county? So there's another loophole of telling you and telling us, look, Hawaii is still Hawaii. It has its own kingdom, but yeah, we're going to use you as a slave because you're not knowledge and akamai. Until you start seeking the truth and getting akamai and wellly educated, then they're going to back off and try to pay you off. I don't think so, because now they're breaking their own law called bribery. So the system that is ran here and the state of each island is all one lie. Basically, the people of Hawaii needs to wake up and get back what is claimfully right. Where, brother, I know probably you or somebody in the family or some other family, poor family, just lost a big piece of land that their family had for years. And you know what? Rightfully, it still is. It's just that you're being bullied off your own aina that you're not really educated about. And us Kanakas, look in our own department. Look at our own system here in Hawaii. You tell me what Hawaiian, what Kanaka is on president of his own people, that is the governor of his own people. You think Lingo is in Hawaii? No. What Kanaka is running their own people for their own land? Now, if nobody can comply with that, I rest my case. Because it's been that years, like I said in the beginning of this topic. Over 100 years of deception and lies. And this needs to stop.
Agreed.
You know, Hawaii, we got different colors on our light. Red, yellow, green. This is our home. Time for our people and our kupuna and our young keikis that want to be different type of people out there listening to rap, which did not come from that. They need to wake up and realize who they are, be proud of who you are, and where you come from. That's my mana'o to everybody, because I know this is going out worldwide. Mm-hmm. People from Russia, Germany, Korea, China, Japan. This is all friends and allies with us, with our kingdom. We had the king, we had the prince of Japan at the time bow to our king out of love and respect. That's honor. I do not have any respect for an American flag because it brings no honor.
No, and I agree with you.
It brings only death. It brings death among their people and other people that they say come to America, a land of freedom, which they're actually coming to a land of being my slave now.
Yep. And I agree with you. I have no respect to the flag, but at the same token, we're going to have to deal with these people. So wouldn't it be better to put in people in office in their system that's more sympathetic than us than have a Trump guy who really...
No. Put it this way. I would rather not have any of these guys.
I agree with you. But realistically, that ain't reality. I agree with you. I would not want to deal with them at all. We have our own country, but that is not the case.
We have our own kingdom, and reality is this. Kaumualiʻi was Akamai. Very smart. That's where I come from. That's
True.
One of my half of my body, half of my root. I'm half Koko of one king and the other king. And this is the thing. Back in the day, to today, our people is known not to take anything from nobody. We're the most giving, loving, and aloha. But don't backstab us.
True.
And you know what? We are the same way today. That's what takes us from different people, because we're known to stand our ground. No matter what Polynesian you are, I believe, Auntie Kalamai, but your Ohana from Samoa have every right to come to Hawaii because all Polynesia came from one root anyway. So if
he does have a right. Unfortunately, immigration has kept him out for 4 years.
Well, Auntie, check
he hasn't seen his son. He left when his daughter was 6 years old. She's 4.5 now. He left when his daughter was 6 months old. So, and we reapplied twice, and they keep on denying him. So,
well, you know what, Auntie, I'm gonna do this favor for you. This can be under the royal order of Kamehameha, and I would go out there seek him specially for sale. We get va'as nowadays, every island. They never say, oh, yeah, he probably cannot fly here. But they never say nothing, we cannot go sell him here. This is our home. They don't have the authority to tell us what to do on our soil. They're supposed to have been out of here a long time ago in the military.
I agree with everything you're saying, but the reality is they did take my land. And this country, if it does exist, can't do a damn thing right now. They took my land. Now, if our country really did exist, this state, this county could not take my land because my country would have said, you can't do it. But I don't, philosophically, I believe what you're saying. Just like with reinstated, our country exists. Then how come my country can't even save my land if my country exists? So I'm thinking reality versus philosophy.
I get that answer for you, okay? But you got to take me off here because it's going to be a private answer.
Okay, no, for real. I'll keep you...
cousin.
What?
Cousin. Also, get brothers, Mana'o, because, one of my Ohana's kapuli who married Noho'ua, and plus that, my great-great-great-great-grandmother was Peke Davis. So I want to talk story with my cousin.
I have that name, Auntie, in my pala.
Yeah, Peke. Peke Davis was my fifth great-grandmother. She's my Peke Davis, Isaac Davis's daughter.
Oh, we need to vala'au.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because my dad.
Have you talked to cousin Joe Kaua'i?
Oh yes.
Okay,
yes,
he's cousin. We all cousins.
Okay. Because my dad's grandma which is my great grandma. She's the youngest daughter of Simeon Kai'u, the son of Queen Deborah.
Aye.
That's on my father's side. My mom's side in the Kamehameha royal order is from Kaua'i, which I have paperwork that documents back to 1513.
Aye.
Wait, sorry.
So we got.
We all need to, for talk. So cousin will get you information, and then also you can give the information you need to give to cousin Randy. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
yes. You guys call me up when you guys time.
Yeah, cuz I'm gonna put you on the side off the air, and I'm gonna get your information. Then, cuz take it away. I'll get right back to you. Okay.
Okay. Aloha, everyone. You know, again, the elections are coming up, and one of the things that I'd like to mention to you is what's going to be happening is soon who's running for. Let me just, in terms of state senate, somebody's running against Ron Kochi this time. It's Heather Ahuna, Democrat. Heather Ahuna is running against Ron Kochi. And again, that's from the state senate, District 8. Now, the state representatives, they have a whole bunch of people in the mix. Derek Kawakami, I love him. I'm sorry. I watched him come up to the banks, and he always stuck to his gun, and he a real good local boy. And that's my favorite, I'm sorry. But Derek Kawakami, then we have Sandra Combs, a Republican, and then we have Jan Kimura, Democrat, and we have Sandra Kuti, you know who, yeah? Yeah. From Oshi and non-denominational kind of thing. Anyway, and we also have Nadine Nakamura, who voted no on the county council for GMO pesticides reveal. Okay. Then we have also Democratic Joseph Prigge, and good boy, Joseph Jr. And then we have Democratic for Anui Rosensteel. Oh, I like her too. But my favorite's Derek, okay? And that's for District 14. Then we have for State Representative District 15, we have Mary Lee Ako, and then we have Thomas Oye. I think you're the one who was with the state land DLNR over there in Lihui, right? DLNR Thomas. I used to call him Downing Thomas Oye, and he running, and then also James Kunani Tokioka. We related. Anyway, not saying vote for my relative, but we related. So Downing Thomas, very quiet man, very interesting. Let's see how I think he's there, really. Good foundation.
Because we're going to take a short break, play a short song, and then we'll get right back to you, okay? All right, we'll see ya. Take a little musical break with some Huyohana.
Oh
boy, we must have a hot topic. Politics is usually a hot topic. And with that, we have Cuz on the air, but always whatever we're talking about, priorities to phone callers. So thank you for all your phone calls and all the different opinions and your thoughts. And we have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Nale Hawaiian Issues.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Good afternoon. Hello. Yeah, just wanted to chime in, kind of give the two cents anyways. As you all come out and as I'm listening to all you guys and going back and forth, and I respect everyone's opinion, and of course everybody has, good things and bad things to say across the board, but as I sit here and listen from my background being Native North American, kind of going through the history anyways, and listening to each of your histories, as we go back, it's hard to sit here and want to live on the past when, and of course we got to honor our history and know where we come from, because that's our, who we are as cultures and how we can share that around the world. And that's the beauty. And what America or North America and the United States are talking about politics is all in all disgusting as it is. But, as we come back to the point, nobody's even addressed really, as you've all telling about your histories and very concerns and all that, but really nobody's gotten to the issues of really the facts at hand and what's happening today with our country. I feel all your angers, all your hatreds from what happened in the past. Of course, we all can live that way, but if we really want to be righteous people, we got to live together and focus on the future on out, no matter where we come from, no matter what background we have, and America, North America, Hawaii, everywhere. We're all come together as people. If we can't focus on living together, then, man, it's getting pretty sad. We don't need to be shooting each other left and right, here and there, or saying who's hatred or what. But, there's several other topics there we could kind of address, but thank you.
Mahalo.
Oh, thank you.
And I believe if you don't know your past, you're doomed to repeat it. And I think
definitely.
The present is because of what happened in the past. So to understand your present situation, you have to know your past. So the past history is important. Not to live in the past. Like us Hawaiians, we don't want to live in the past. We want our country to live in the future. Like George Helms said, he didn't want Hawaiian culture.
Yeah, but the problem was our past was buried by the United States.
True.
And they didn't want the truth coming out.
True.
So now some of our own people are, even though we repeat it on a daily basis, many of our own people don't even know our true history.
Well, and
so that's why Nale Hawaiian Issues is focused on bringing out that history. So we won't repeat it, and we won't allow our and
because we have another caller,
our people to repeat it.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Nale Hawaiian Issues. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hello. Thank you. A great show. I just want to briefly say that in the light of everything we're seeing with the U.S. presidential election, and thank you for clarifying that. For sure, I'm such a big supporter of Hawaii Free Nation. And, I see what you're saying, Randy. Okay, but this is reality. They took my land. The king said, we're the nation, we're the king, but they still took my land. So, what I'm seeing with the Democratic election thing that just happened, is too bad, just put you down your throat. You have to vote for Hillary now because we don't want Trump. And it's a really nauseating feeling. So I'm praying and hoping it will happen by November, because that's still months away. And there's a huge movement behind this, is that people remember how the U.S. started. It was a small group of Europeans who did not like their government. They left their government and created their own country. So I'm just praying that people will unite and create a new country. And Hawaii Free Nation, all nations free. If you live there, malama the aina, and stop trying to control people on the other side of the planet. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
All right. Mahalo for your
manao. You too. One of the things I do want to mention is, and the reason why I'm bringing up the elections is...
Wait. Before you do that, let me clear out that legal, that legal stuff so we don't get in trouble, yeah? Let's do legal stuff. Just a quick ocean safety and ID number. I'll get right back to you, because we're at, listen to KKCR Honolulu, KQA Kilauea. This is your Kaua'i Community Radio. And let's see what the Ocean Safety Report has to say right now.
Aloha, I'm Pat Durkin with your KKCR Beach and Ocean Safety Tip for today. The safest places to swim are at beaches with lifeguards. On Kaua'i, we have 7 lifeguard stations. On the North Shore, they are located at Hawaiian Beach Park and the Haole Pavilion. On the east side, lifeguards are at Kaua'i Beach Park and Lidgate Park. South to west side locations are Poipu Beach Park, Salt Pond Park, and Kekaha Beach Park. These stations are staffed 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Always check in with lifeguards no matter where you plan to swim. Conditions can change rapidly. For more information about today's ocean conditions on Kaua'i, visit KauaiExplorer.com. With today's beach and ocean safety tip, I'm Pat Durkin for KKCR Radio. Have fun and be safe.
True. We always remind our visitors when we are playing for them and show them our hulas that you have to be careful. Like right now, there are no warnings have been issued on all the around Kaua'i, but advisory: choppy easterly wind, sail with potential for surf and currents at exposed locations on northeast and south shores, which means basically from Honolulu around to Poipu site. Okay, so you got to watch. You just got to be careful. Surf report 1 to 3 to 1 to 2 from Hana and Honolulu, Kaua'i, Lidgate, and Poipu anywhere from 2 to 7. Kaua'i at 4 to 7, 3 to 6 Lidgate, Poipu 2 to 4. Same thing at Salt Pond. Then Kekaha drops to 1 to 3. There are no warnings, but just be careful. Like the guy said, if you're visiting here, you don't know the waters. Go where people stay so that you can stay safe. And with that, we're back on the air with Miss Mahilani Silva. How you doing, cuz?
Hi. Anyway, one of the main reasons why we were talking about, because it's coming up around the corner in terms of, the elections, and because it matters, there's going to be a candidates forum on Thursday, August the 4th, who Kaua'i elects as a prosecutor to the county council, and who you elect as a prosecutor also to the county council and also to your Hawaii state legislature. It does matter. Your vote is important because recently many of the communities saw what took place. So again, in regards to the only one who stood up and voted for the community in Aina in regards to GMOs and pesticides was Gary Hoosier. So the Kaua'i Candidates Forum, this gives you a chance to hear what they have to say, and also it gives you a chance to ask questions why they do what they did. Anyway, Kaua'i Candidates Forum is going to be on Thursday, August the 4th. Chiefest Kamehameha Middle School in Puhi. Live streaming is going to be on KKCR as well as Ho'ike and Facebook. Available playback on Ho'ike at a later date. But if you don't want to miss this, because you definitely don't want to miss this, again, Kaua'i Candidates Forum, Thursday, August the 4th, 5 p.m. for the prosecutor, 6 p.m. for state legislature, and 7 p.m. for county council. So again, try and make it there because it is important. As many of our people saw in terms of the issue in regards to pesticides and what they voted down. And the only one who voted for it was Gary Hoosier. Well, I mean, I look at it this way, and their excuse was, Beth Tukioka, we trust her. Okay, well, it should have been, you know what, we're here, and we are elected officials for the community. And as we look at it logically, there may be a conflict of interest, so we can't, good conscious vote for her. That's my mana'o. It should have been that way, but it didn't go that way. So again, and then in regards to the elections, in terms of the county council, many of the people. I'm sorry. Again, I gotta let you know who also is running for office. So these are the people who are going to be running, okay? And it's imperative that you know who they are, so that we can basically do the right thing. And how come this is not popping up? All right. Anyway, if you want to, you can go to www.kaua'i.gov/elections and the president or the political candidates or the candidates who are running, and click that on, you'll see all the various different candidates who are running and the people's terms who are up. So again, it's imperative. Thursday, August the 4th, Kamehameha, Chiefs Kamehameha Middle School over in Puhi. Candidates forum is going to take place. It's very important that, calm. You gotta calm. Now, also, one of the things is, in regards to this, and for those of you who know that your vote is power, and it's important. First of all, those who didn't register, perhaps next year again, after you see what takes place this year. The deadline was for July 14th. However, in terms of information and voting information, well, starting August the 1st through August 11th, there's an early walk-in voting for primary elections. The locations to be discussed and dates subject to change. But again, it's early walk-in and voting for primary elections. So if you didn't get your little card in the mail, and your registered voter's card in the mail and give you that information, be sure to check with the www.kaua'i.gov elections, or you can go to the building, the county building right there in Ligui, and check it up in terms of looking for going to the elections, where they have the elections right in there, in that big building over there on the main street over there, with the dying palm trees stay where all those birds rest, invasive species rest. But again, early walk-in and voting, primary elections, for the primary elections. And the last day to submit absentee mail applications in the primary elections is August the 6th. And August the 13th is the primary election. Then again, the last day to register to vote for the general election is August the 10th, 2016. And August the 25th through November the 5th is early walk-in voting. So it's important. It's very important for you to exercise your power, your right. It's your vote. It's very important. Because while we get our government back, and when we get our kingdom back, and when we get our infrastructure back for our kingdom, where our kingdom's laws are in place, until then, it's time for us to vote people in who are here in this system, vote people in who will continue or who will look to preserve the aina, the culture, and serve the community, not serve the best friend. I be your best friend? No. Let's not do that, okay? Or not serve the corporations through campaign contributions. It's time for those people who are you appoint or you elect and put in office are supposed to serve the community, okay? That is a primary reason for sitting where they are and making the changes that they do. Are they serving the community? Did they serve the community in regards to these pesticides issue? Are you happy with it? I think the community has a right to know anything when it comes to the poisons that they're putting in our aina. The community has a right to know. And when a corporation says, no, we don't give that, and we're going to sue you because we don't want to give out that information, whatever they got to hide. That's my pet peeve on this one. So, again, it's time for people to step up to the plate and look to, how shall I say, look to exercise your power, your vote. And that's your power. Your vote is your power, especially when it comes to this system. So again, you know what? It's your call, people. It's your call. So if you'd like to share your mana'o regarding anything that we said today, but you'd like to throw something new in, we always like something new in, like Monkey Ranch. So you can give us a call, 826-7771, 826-7771, or 866-275-1112. That's if you're off island. So again, 866-275-1112 for share your mana'o. All right, I'm looking at some of the stuff that's on here. I mean, personally, and I never voted for Obama. Okay. And the thing of it is, now I'm not really happy with Obama. And the reason why I'm not happy with Obama, because he just became Monsanto's best friend. Oh, wow. I mean, please, give me a break. He signed into law that disgusting thing. What is it? I gotta find it. But really? Really?
Well, not only that, and he's trying to push the DOI thing down our throats.
Yeah, I'm not happy with him.
Yeah. Now, does it mean again? There's no one in this world that's perfect. We all have a good side and bad side. But even we're trying to shop around for some health care. We get penalized for not having health care. Last year, we're like, wait a minute. I didn't have to go to doctors last year. Now I'm going to get penalized for that because I didn't have insurance. Didn't like that part. and I didn't even go to the doctors. And you guys are penalizing me. So it's like, didn't like that law about Obama. And then when I went to go check, one place on Kaua'i, $800 a month. It's like, nah. Just for health insurance? $800 a month? Bro, I don't use that much doctor bills in 1 month. Well, I'm going to pay you insurance for $800 and still have to pay like a $20 copay or whatever. So it's like...
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I might just be old style. When the body says go, it's going to be... I'm not... just like Jimmy Borges. They're saying, you're going to do cancer and all that. He goes, nah. Time for go. And...
That's...
And then you leave your family with bills up their kazinga. It's like, go natural Hawaiian way. When time in the body says time to go, it's time to go. No have to put me in the hospital and stay there for 4 weeks and have $100,000 bill for my family to pay and worry. Forget it. No need it. But under law, if you don't have it, then you don't have insurance, we're going to penalize you. Hey, I didn't go to the doctors. That's okay. The law says we penalize you. Don't like that law. I agree with the Republicans on that side. Why am I penalized because I didn't have insurance? Well, why? But that's the law. And we know just because of the law don't mean it's a good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But, I just want to say that people are really not happy because Mayor Cavallo and the county council members not passing 2491. That was the bill. 2491. The only one who did vote for it was Jared Hoosier. And it's like, wow. So, and lots of people signed that, a petition. They went around, they wanted it, and it's like,
well, and that's one thing we have to fix in this American politics. Again, I want my own country, but this is something we have to deal with. And American politics has to be fixed, where this money machines cannot get involved. And that's one thing Hillary said she was going to change. I couldn't believe when the Supreme Court passed that to make these super packs legal. Just totally dumb. All the candidates should get 5 minutes on air and on TV, and that's it. Everyone gets the same. Doesn't matter. Because all the money, we could have put down our debt. You guys could have built houses for people, could have fixed our roads, and all that money goes into pay for airtime. Come on, there has to be another different way. The system and obviously the guys who are making the money off of this love it the way it is. But with all this millions and millions for what? Just so they can get airtime and all this stuff. That millions of dollars could have been helping people rather than paying executive salaries for NBC, ABC, and all these other guys who charge these outrageous rates. And even the commentators on all these shows are going, this is getting out of hand. You have to be a billionaire to take office. What about just good ideas and a great integrity and moral and ethics?
Yeah,
no, you have to be.
And I know, and one of the things I really am upset about too, in terms of Obama, is what's he signed? He signs the DARK Act. The House passes the DARK Act, and that's banning states from requiring GMO labels on your food. Okay, so because you're just going to have to do what you've been doing and looking for the sucrose thingy and. Well,
that's what I do anyway, and and even with that thing, Cowspiracy. My wife and them, they even, I love my milk and cookies. I love my milk and cookies. But I even started stepping away from milk. Just showing the sustainability, how much cows take up as far as water and how much land they need. And it just, and us Hawaiians, we never eat cow before. And we were healthy.
No.
Now we get diabetes, we get all any kind. And we get them more than anybody else. So it wasn't in our diet before. We changed our diet. Now we're suffering all these different things. So I'm trying to change the way I do things. And what small little I noticed, and my wife knows, that I don't buy milk anymore. And because I love my milk, but just trying to wean away from that. Every time I look at it, I just think of what that documentary said. It's calf growth fluid. And every time I look at milk now, I just want to go, And man, and I love my milk and cookies.
I know, me too.
Come on, chocolate has to go with milk. At least for me, an ice cold glass of milk. But I'm just mean anyway. I'm just trying to be a little bit healthier too, And even
the politicians. Let's get the politicians out.
Well,
Let's get them. I want all the politicians out of office. Let's just put just regular people inside.
Well,
the ones with common sense and common decency and the love of family and the love of land and not the love of money.
When you look at the numbers, like the one Hawaiian kid came in and says, I don't want to vote because it's in our country. However, this is what we have to deal with. If every Hawaiian voted, we would take over tomorrow. Do you realize that? The county council person, I think one of the top guys was under 15,000. We have more Hawaiians than that.
Yep.
But we don't vote as a block. And many of us don't vote. I agree with the Hawaiians who say, I don't like the system. I agree. The system has been bad. I agree. But we have to deal with it right now. And what other way to deal with it than try to control it? My brother-in-law has been saying this for over 2 decades. If the Hawaiians ever saw the light and voted, and that takes responsibility, that means maybe one day out of the year, you register, don't go surfing, don't get the beer, just register first, okay? Then the next day, just go, you can even mail them in. You don't even have to go down. You just mail the bugger back. Don't even have to go down to vote. So this thing, I can't go down because you don't have to. You just put it back in the mail. If every Hawaiian did that, we would take over tomorrow. Not wait for the United States to say you can have your country back. We can control the system right now and then move it away and say this is what we want. We would do it, people. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. But until we get our numbers together, we're going to be picked apart like they're doing us right now. You got the guys over there, the guys over there. Hey, divided, we will fall. And it has shown until we can unite, even unite under with our different ideologies within the Hawaiian community. But at least come together as one people. At least that. Like the Americans and Republicans. Look at them. They're going to be, but if America got attacked, boom, everyone becomes America. You saw that in 2001. A lot of people didn't like Bush, but boom, once they got attacked, everybody was like, we're all Americans. They didn't divide the lines by Democrats and Republicans. That's what Hawaiians have to do. We're being attacked continually. People say, it was in the past. No, I just lost 4 parcels of land in Moloa last year. That's not 1893. That's not 1907. This is now they're taking my land. It's now they're still taking our land. So we have to do something now, not wait until if we just got our act together and everyone voted, we would take over tomorrow. We would put the mayor in Kaua'i. We would put the county councils on all islands. We would even get the governorship. Because not 100% of all the other ethnicities vote. And if we really care about our homeland, then, hey, you got to get off your coal and do something. And yeah, you can say, I don't want to vote, then you're kind of part of the problem because the people who are getting in, who do vote for them, have not been very sympathetic to us. So,
as Anthony was saying, no vote, no grumble.
I believe that, really. If you don't vote, then you're part of the problem. Because our people are not getting in. The people are going to be sympathetic to us. And at least until we do get our country back, they can start implementing rules that protect us. Like one thing which was good under this system, they implemented a kuleana tax break. So some of our families around here got a kuleana tax so that they're not paying like one family $4,000 every year. They went down to $25. I support that. Why? Because it keeps the Hawaiian land in the Hawaiian family's hands. I don't care what the other people are paying. This is Hawaiian hands that have been in their family. It must not be taken away from them. Lower their taxes so they're not going to have to be worried like my family in Moloa and my pake. We have to scramble. Oh, all these taxes. You should get that break, Hawaiian. Why? Because you deserve it. You're in Hawaii. Those lands have been given to your family. It must stay in the family in Hawaiian hands. Not sold because you can't afford this outrageous taxes that they pull out of a hat every year. That's why it fluctuates. They're pulling it out of their hat and basing sales of other people, foreigners, building these big houses, and then they affect Hawaiians and we can't afford it. That has to stop. And we can stop it right now if we get our votes in and put in people who support us. So, hey, you don't want to vote? You're part of the problem. And I agree with you. I don't want to vote in this system either, but it's something I have to deal with right now. And at least I have a right to say something. And at least I'm doing something to try to put in people that are sympathetic for Hawaiians in this system, which I don't agree with at all. But this system is right now, that's what's happening. This other thing that our kingdom still exists, it may on paper, but it does not function. That's the problem I have it. It may exist theoretically, philosophically, and I believe that, but it cannot actually work in reality. How do I know that? Because no one came to stop my land being taken away by this illegal occupation government. They took it. And I can stand there, well, my kingdom still exists and I am elite. They took the land. That's all I know. Hello?
Oh, I know, guys. I saw the press at eating chocolate cake.
But I love my Hawaiian people. I love my Hawaiian land. And we have to stand up for our people and our land. We have to. The United States or no other country is going to wipe us off this face of the earth and tell us, the Hawaiian people, that we don't have a right to our kingdom or our country or our lands. We say no. And we will fight, just like the Queen said, to the very last Hawaiian dying breath. We will speak of our people, we will tell our story, and we will stand up for our country. And that country is Hawaii. That is a fact. So you may take my land now, and I agree with the brother. All this is all BS anyway. The only thing that you have the right to take my land now is because you have a police force that can come down and arrest me if I buck you. That's the only thing. Otherwise, all you got is a toilet paper. That's all you got. But what is enforceable with that toilet paper, you can call a cop. Court says this is the way it is. Cops, you tell Mr. Rego he has nothing to say. He can't do nothing. We're going to take his land, and if he bucks it, he'll be thrown in jail. Other than that, without the police officer, the court they have nothing to enforce it. But that's the system that we're dealing with. They're taking our lands as we speak. And I agree, whatever one day, whether we get national recognition, and I know the day will come, as long as the people, the Hawaiian people, onipa'a and stand fast that no one will deter us from our right to exist and for our country to exist. And we can't do that if you take all our lands. But under your system, it's legal, international law, and it will be shown. They will be proven wrong. It's not if, it's when, and they know it. That's why Department of Interior is coming down. Please sign this paper, please, please. So we can see you signed a paper. Because right now the United States has jack from the Hawaiian people saying, you can take us over. You can take our country. You can take our land. The United States of America does not have jack on paper. That's why they're asking us to sign off on the DOI now. And the majority of the Hawaiian people know it. Evidence on YouTube, Department of Interior meetings. We know it. But like the gentleman said in the very beginning, shots at Democrats, Mazie Hirono, who tried to push this Department of Interior in the first place? Our congressional delegation. Why? Because our congressional delegation is part of the status quo. They want the United States to control because they do good in that system. They don't want Hawaiians to get our country back. Which means everything they stand for, human rights, justice, is a falsehood and a lie. Because if they do believe in that, then you have to stand up for Hawaiian rights. And with that, cuz, let's go out with some music. How about that? Okay. Again, mahalo for everyone who called in. Great manao on both sides. And you can see the passion on all sides of the issue. How do we resolve this? Peacefully. At least keep discussion open. And kuka for some understanding. Aloha no.